The moment you open a small business in America, you have already lost. You just don't know it yet. Every year, millions of people are told the same lie. Work hard enough. Build something good enough. And the market will reward you. It won't. Not because you aren't talented. Not because your idea isn't good. But because the market was redesigned, quietly, deliberately, over decades, to make sure the biggest players always win. This isn't a story about effort. This is a story about a system. And once you see how it works, you can't unsee it. Walk down any main street in America today. You'll see it. Empty storefronts where a bookstore used to be. A closed diner that fed the neighborhood for 30 years. A handmade sign that says, "Thank you for your support. We are closing." Between 2020 and 2023, over 200,000 small businesses in the United States closed permanently. The Small Business Administration reports that roughly half of all new small businesses fail within their first 5 years. And the majority of those that survive year 5 will still struggle to grow beyond a certain point. Some were casualties of the pandemic, but many were casualties of something older, something quieter, something most people never think about. Here's a number that should stop you cold. In 1990, the 20 largest American companies accounted for roughly 12% of total U.S. corporate profits. By 2020, that number had more than doubled. 20 companies, tens of millions of workers, entire economic ecosystems, slowly being absorbed into a smaller and smaller circle of power. Because while those small businesses were struggling to survive, Amazon's revenue crossed $500 billion. Walmart opened hundreds of fulfillment centers, and Starbucks added thousands of locations worldwide. The gap between the big and the small isn't growing slowly. It's accelerating. And here's what nobody tells you. It's not just about price. It's not just about convenience. It's about a set of invisible rules that the largest companies in the world have learned to exploit. Rules that most small business owners don't even know exist. Meet Ben. Ben is 38 years old. He lives in Portland, Oregon. And for 11 years, he ran a specialty coffee shop called Heron House. Not a chain, not a franchise. A real neighborhood coffee shop. The kind where the barista remembers your order. The kind where local artists hang their work on the walls. The kind people say they love. Ben worked 6 days a week. He sourced his beans from small farms in Colombia and Ethiopia. He paid his staff above minimum wage because he believed it was the right thing to do. His rent was $4,200 a month. His payroll ran about $14,000 a month. After supplies, fees, and equipment maintenance, he netted maybe $3,000 to $4,000 in a good month. Not rich, but enough. Then things started shifting. A Starbucks opened 2 blocks away. Then a Dutch Brothers appeared on the corner. Then a third coffee chain moved in across the street. His foot traffic dropped by 20% in the first year. He tried everything. He launched a loyalty app. He started selling branded merchandise. He offered a monthly coffee subscription. He partnered with local bakeries to expand his food menu. He stayed open later on weekends. He ran pop-up events and live music nights. Each initiative cost time he didn't have, and money he couldn't really spare. And every month, his margins got a little thinner. By the time Ben sat down with his accountant in early 2024, the numbers told a story he had been trying not to see. Heron House closed 6 months later. Ben didn't fail because he made bad coffee. He failed because he was playing a game that was rigged against him from the beginning. Here is the first thing nobody tells small business owners. In modern markets, size doesn't just help you compete. Size changes the rules of the game entirely. This is what economists call economies of scale. When Starbucks buys coffee beans, they're buying millions of pounds at a time. That means their cost per cup is a fraction of what Ben pays. When Amazon ships a product, they own the trucks, the warehouses, and the last-mile delivery routes. Their shipping cost per package drops to levels no independent retailer can match. When Walmart negotiates with suppliers, they can demand lower prices simply because of the volume they move. A small business owner has no leverage in that conversation. The same product that costs Ben $1.20 to source costs a national chain 60 cents. That's not a small difference. That's the difference between surviving and not surviving. But scale isn't just about purchasing power. It's about logistics infrastructure. Think about what it actually takes to run a modern retail business. Inventory management, payment processing, scheduling software, accounting systems, customer relationship management, marketing analytics. A company like Target has entire departments for each of those functions. They have algorithms that predict what you're going to buy before you know you want it. Ben had a whiteboard and a spreadsheet. The investment required just to match a fraction of that capability is beyond what most small business owners can afford. And while Ben was figuring out how to set up an email newsletter, Amazon was spending $40 billion on logistics infrastructure in a single year. This is the scale trap. The bigger you are, the cheaper it gets to operate. The cheaper it gets to operate, the lower you can price. The lower you price, the more customers you attract. The more customers you attract, the bigger you get. It's a flywheel. And once it starts spinning for the giants, it's almost impossible to stop. But the scale trap is only part of the story. Because even if a small business could somehow match a large corporation on price, there's another advantage that money can't easily buy. Data. Every time you search on Amazon, it learns something about you. Every time you browse a product but don't buy it, it learns something. Every time you add something to your cart and abandon it, it learns something. Amazon processes over 300 million customer accounts. It has years of purchase history, browsing behavior, search patterns, and preference data on hundreds of millions of people. That data tells Amazon exactly what products to stock, exactly when to run a sale, exactly which items to promote on which page, exactly how to price something to maximize conversion. It tells them who you are before you even arrive. Now think about Ben. He knew his regulars by name. He knew that Marcus always ordered an oat milk latte on Tuesday mornings. He knew that the book club came in on Thursday nights. But he had no idea how many people walked past his shop and kept walking. He had no idea which of his menu items had the highest profit margin. He had no idea whether his Instagram posts were bringing in new customers or just being liked by people who already came in anyway. He was making decisions based on instinct and goodwill. The corporations were making decisions based on machine learning and behavioral science. This isn't just a competitive disadvantage. It's a fundamentally different way of operating a business. And it's not something you can fix with a better app or a smarter social media strategy. Because the data advantage compounds over time. The more customers a platform has, the more data it collects. The more data it collects, the better its predictions become. The better its predictions, the more sales it generates. The more sales it generates, the more customers it attracts. Another flywheel, spinning faster every year, leaving small businesses further and further behind. There's a concept in economics called the network effect. It describes how a product or platform becomes more valuable as more people use it. Amazon isn't just a store, it's a network. And every new customer, every new seller, every new delivery driver makes the network stronger. Ben wasn't just competing against a coffee chain. He was competing against a data infrastructure he couldn't see and couldn't afford. Now, we need to pull back. Because what Ben experienced isn't a story about one coffee shop. It's a story about how modern economic systems are structured. After World War II, the United States had a very different economic landscape. Small and medium-sized businesses dominated Main Street America. Local banks financed local businesses. Regional supply chains kept money circulating within communities. Then something shifted. The deregulation of the 1980s. The rise of big box retail in the 1990s. The explosion of e-commerce in the 2000s. And the emergence of platform economies in the 2010s. Each of these waves concentrated economic power in fewer and fewer hands. Economist Barry Lynn, founder of the Open Markets Institute, has documented how across nearly every sector of the American economy, from groceries to pharmaceuticals to eyeglasses to eyewear, a small number of massive companies now control dominant market share. 4 companies control 85% of the American beef processing industry. 3 companies control most of the country's eyeglass frames and lenses. 2 companies control most of the online advertising market. And the rules that were supposed to prevent this kind of concentration haven't kept up. Antitrust law in the United States was originally designed to break up monopolies. It was designed to protect competition, to protect small businesses, to protect consumers. But over the decades, those laws were reinterpreted. The courts shifted their focus. Instead of asking whether a company was hurting competition, they started asking whether it was hurting consumers through higher prices. And since Amazon and Walmart and the big tech platforms often charge lower prices, they have largely escaped serious antitrust action. The system doesn't see what Ben saw. It doesn't count the destroyed livelihoods. It doesn't account for the hollowed-out main streets. It doesn't measure what's lost when the businesses that built communities disappear. It only counts the price of a cup of coffee. Here's what makes this harder to talk about than it should be. We are all, in some way, participating in the system that kills small businesses. When you choose to order on Amazon because it's cheaper and arrives tomorrow, you're not making a moral failure. You're making a rational economic decision. When you go to Starbucks because the app is faster and the loyalty points add up, you're not betraying your neighborhood. You're doing what makes sense given your time and your budget. That's the most difficult thing to sit with. The system has been designed so that the rational choice for the individual consumer is often the choice that harms the collective. Cheap prices come at a cost. They come at the cost of the wages paid to warehouse workers. They come at the cost of the suppliers squeezed to impossible margins. They come at the cost of the local businesses that can't compete. And they come at the cost of something harder to quantify: community, resilience, economic diversity. When a town has 100 small businesses, it has 100 different employers. When that town has 1 big box store and 2 national chains, it has 3 points of failure. Economists call this fragility. And American communities have been getting more fragile for decades. After Ben closed Heron House, he did something unexpected. He started doing consulting work, helping other small business owners understand their numbers, helping them think about strategy. He told me something that stayed with me. He said, "The hardest part wasn't losing the business. The hardest part was realizing that I had done everything right. I worked hard. I treated people well. I made a product I was proud of, and it still wasn't enough. That's when I understood. It was never just about effort. We tell a story in America about how business works. Work hard, build something good, treat your customers right, and success will follow." Ben believed that story. Most small business owners believe that story. And in another era, it might have been true. But the rules have changed, and the story hasn't caught up. The companies that dominate today's economy didn't win because they worked harder. They won because they reached a size where the rules started working in their favor. They won because they had access to capital that turned into data, and data that turned into scale, and scale that turned into more capital. That loop doesn't care about passion. It doesn't care about craft. It doesn't care about community. It rewards position. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most small business owners aren't losing because they failed. They're losing because they entered a game where the rules were already written. Written by people who had already won. The question isn't whether small businesses can survive. Some will. The ones that find niches the giants don't care about. The ones that build loyalty so deep that no algorithm can replicate it. The ones that understand the game they're playing, but for the rest, the playing field has never been level, and pretending otherwise is the most expensive mistake a small business owner can make.